I will stop the recording. Okay, Odessa, great, thank you. So, nice. Okay, I guess we will start. As you know, the topic of our today's webinar is creating classroom dynamics. Let me share my screen. And before we proceed to our today's objectives, let's first try to find out what classroom dynamics are. Could you please share your ideas? What do you think? What you understand under this notion?
Well, whether your students active or not.
Yeah, I agree.
Lessons, whether they're involved in activities or they just like keep silent.
Yeah, completely.
Maybe interaction between students and teacher.
Yeah,
Rapport.
yeah, great. Yeah, rapport, of course. Any other ideas? You can also drop them to our chat box. You're completely welcome. Okay, so of course, it's about the ways the people within a class interact with each other. It's how they talk and how they act. It's how they show their feelings and opinions. It's how they behave as a group. And according to Adrian Underhill, in addition to our competences of content knowledge like grammar, lexis, and teaching skills, we also have to possess attitudes and strategies which can help us generate a psychological climate conducive to high quality learning. So let's have a look which aspects classroom dynamics include and which things we're going to talk about today. Guys, please, could you mute yourself, please? Okay, so today we're going to talk about aspects that create classroom dynamics. We'll also have a look at team building and ice-breaking activities, how to create a solid team for further work at the start of the semester. We'll discuss the difference between speed and tempo or pace of the lesson. Then we'll talk about regrouping various types of activities. We'll also characterize peer work or peer learning. And of course, we'll talk about how to create dynamics in online classes. So I guess every teacher at least once has had such problem, like my group just doesn't gel. Students haven't become a team. So, and wondered what the reason is. One of the reasons might be lack of classroom dynamics. And we have to understand that it's not a completely natural situation. It must be set according to a plan. This leads us to the next point, which aspects classroom dynamics include. So, first of all, it's classroom management, classroom setup, and relationships for learning. Let's have a look at the aspects which classroom management comprises. These activities, grouping and seating, authority, critical moments, tools and techniques, and of course, working with people. Like as we work with people, the key characteristics of classroom dynamics is students' interaction. And we as teachers have to create conditions for such interaction. So let's talk a bit about team building and ice-breaking activities, which we use at the beginning of the semester. And not only. So first of all, why is it important to break the ice? Let's have a look. Of course, to get the students to make their initial contacts with each other through English. It is then easier to go on speaking English with the others. Then also to get the students to make contact with as many other people as possible in a group. Of course, to learn names, to find out something about other group members, and to begin to know them in some informal and friendly way. to encourage fluid seating arrangements, and to discourage territoriality, and of course, to create a relaxed and enjoyable atmosphere. As we know, at the beginning of the semester, it's really crucial to create a solid team for further work. And for this purpose, it's a great idea to organize different team building activities. So first, I'd like to share with you some ideas about icebreaking activities. Then we'll come back to team building. Shaking hands. This activity is great, is appropriate for any levels. It's very easy to organize. Students mingle, shake hands, and say their names. They try to remember each other's names. And once they have shaken hands with everybody, they can make a second circle. And this time they shake hands again, but this time they introduce their partner. In such a way, they memorize each other's names better and are already warming up to each other. Then we all know and like this activity, which is called Would You Rather. It can be organized as a whole class. In this case, a teacher spins the wheel on the screen, and students in turns have to answer some tricky and fun questions. If you have a big group, you can arrange those questions on pieces of paper. In this case, students will mingle, ask each other those questions, can ask some details, and as feedback, you can ask what interesting and fun information they've remembered about their group mates. Also, people bingo. Here, students also have to mingle. They get such handouts with prompts, and they mingle to ask each other questions using these prompts. When they get positive answer, they cross out their prompt, and the goal is to make a line either diagonally or vertically or horizontally. And in this case, they say bingo and win the game, and also get to know more about each other. So coming back to team building activities, which we can arrange as at the beginning of the semester, and also you can organize them during the whole semester to engage students and to support, like develop classroom dynamics. Object stories. In this activity, students are given different objects. They mingle, and they have to use those objects to contribute to their whole class story. Survival, team building, or survive in the wilderness is also kind of close to the first one activity. Here, students, again, can get either objects or can get cards with pictures, and they have to mingle and find the partners whose objects, as they think, might help them to survive in the wilderness. And in such a way, they build small teams or big teams, it depends. Also, puzzle maker, puzzle finder. In this activity, in this team building, students have to create picture together as a group. Each person, each student gets a piece of a picture, and they mingle. They have to describe their piece in detail. It's better to motivate them, describe their pictures, not just to show. And they find the person whose piece will match their piece, and in such a way they build the whole picture. So once you've managed to create a solid team, it's time to think about how to engage learners effectively in further studying and maintain energy and focus. Thus, you need to pay attention to managing the pace of the lesson. So first of all, what's the tempo or the pace of the lesson? Please, could you share your ideas in our chat box? So how fast we do the tasks. Okay. How often the activities change. Agree. Yeah, really. Simply put, it's the speed at which we move through a lesson or the rate of delivery for different parts of the lesson. Yeah, time limits, again, yeah, as well, agree. But here is the question, is pace the same as speed? What do you think? You can also share your ideas in our chat. No, okay. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. It's not like completely the same. Actually, pacing is the skill of creating a perception that the class is moving at just the right speed for students. And this leads us to the question, to the next question, what can we do to vary this pace in lessons? So first of all, it's about good planning of the activities, planning of forms of work, timing, instructions, materials, feedbacks, and so on. Also, as some of you mentioned, you have to use time limits and time warnings to keep the pace. You can also assign the timekeeper role in group work. Again, of course, pay attention to your language and the level of your energy, how you, like which atmosphere you create the lesson. Use variety of activities like mingling activities, writing dictations, gallery walk, different quizzes with a time limit, which will create competitive atmosphere. And use of technologies and Reella also contributes to this question. Again, a question to you. What kind of lessons tend to have a slow and monotonous pace? Just from your experience. You can share in our chat box as usual. Yeah, completely agree. With it, yeah, with same type. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, revision if we use, yeah, the same types of activities. Grammar, yeah, so it really depends. I completely agree with you. For me, it's also, first of all, writing, especially formal writing. And like, let's be honest, for most students, writing lessons might seem daunting and maybe a bit boring. So what can we do to make them more engaging, more interesting? For example, on intermediate level, we students are supposed to write a letter of complaint. It's a semi-formal letter. We can, before proceeding to writing, to analyzing the structure, we can raise their interest with by showing them and like encouraging them to discuss different ridiculous complaints which people have made, and then they look at the model of a letter of complaint, and then they analyze the structure of this letter with the help of such hamburger model. I guess we know about this. Then before writing the letter, they can brainstorm their ideas with the help of a similar model. They can be grouped into small groups or into pairs and arrange their ideas here. And now they already have have the ideas which they can use for publishing them. As extra motivation for writing, you might inform your students that they're going to publish their works. In class, it can be arranged, offline, as gallery walk, where students look through their works and can choose maybe that work which they like the most, or the work which has the best structure, and so on. Online, it can be arranged with the help of Padlet board. For example, here, my upper intermediate students created blog on this Padlet board. And as you can see, they also were able to comment on each other's blogs, to put likes, to choose their favorite, that we discussed. So it was quite entertaining. And here they have the opportunity to attach different pictures. So it looks like real blog on a website. So another moment which we have to take into account while planning the lessons, it's how we are going to group our students. And of course, these things have to be pre-planned. And let's have a look how we can group our students. You can give your students the choice to work with the partner they want. But you have to be careful because it works, this type of grouping works not for all types of activities and not for each group. Sometimes it's a great idea it's essential to select the groups yourself. This thing has to be pre-planned as well. And random grouping always brings spontaneity and dynamics to the lessons. So how can we group students? They can work in pairs, in small groups, from 3 to 6 people, or in large groups or teams. And to, according to the type of activity, we choose how big the group should be. We have to answer the question, first of all, how often we should regroup our students and when, at which stages of the lesson we have to do it. So please share your ideas in our chat box as we've done it before. Is fun and green. So how often, how many times, approximately, if it is, let's put it like that, if it is communication class, like an hour and a half. Not often, yeah. If any presentations, 2 to 3 times, yeah, agree, 1, 2. Before some task or for feedback, yeah, it depends. Sometimes it's, yeah, really can be 3, 4 times when you feel the need to. Yeah, after reading or listening, yeah, completely agree. Yeah, it can be from 2 to 3 times. Again, yeah, it depends. You look at the dynamics of the lesson, and of course you can make some decisions like on the spot. Yeah, when to regroup after reading and listening stages. For example, once students have covered gist and detailed stage of the reading or listening, they might already be tired, maybe a bit bored. Then we have personal response, and before this we can regroup them to give them the opportunity to share their opinions about these tasks, to dialogue with new partners. Also before production tasks where they can practice use their skills with new partners. And of course, when you notice that the classroom dynamics is decreasing, yeah, it will work completely right. So obviously, students can't, work in the same groups during the lesson, the whole lesson. And let's have a look how we can make this regrouping more engaging, more interesting. You can regroup students with help of pictures, colors, or placers where they should find the partner. You can assign them names of objects like apple, banana, strawberry, I guess our favorite, or letters, numbers. You can also give them parts of sentences or words and definitions. They will have to find the person whose definition or word will match their part. And here you can find the sentences or words according to the topic of the lesson. It will be like 2 activities in one, like they will be able to revise some target language at the same time, and so on. Online, there are a lot of applications which enable you to regroup your students like randomly. You just put their names, to this application, and the application will do all the job for you. Then there is one more interesting regrouping from a line. Here students make a line according to the month when they were born, from January to December. And those students who are next to each other, they work in a pair or in a group, again, according to the type of your activity and on the purpose. As to the types of activities which we can use during our classes to contribute to classroom dynamics, they can be roughly divided into 3 types. Those activities which raise awareness of the language and the topic. For example, students read 2 emails and decide which is more formal, or students individually think of 5 perfect destinations. Then those activities which help to get the skill, like encourage learning, memorization, like students match vocab items with the definitions or reorder dialogue, and activities which motivate them, encourage to use the skill. Students plan a presentation to sell an idea to the class, or go out and conduct a questionnaire and use their skills like in real life. Okay. All the above mentioned activities require a lot of peer work and peer learning. Just a moment. So, coming back to activities, I forgot to give the examples of these kinds of activities. Yeah, let's first talk about mingling. Like find someone who, I guess we use it very often. We know a lot about it. Then another variation is onion rings, where students make 2 circles, and the outer circle and the inner circle. They stand opposite each other. Students in the outer circle move clockwise, and students in the inner circle stay at the same place. And in such a way, they have the opportunity to talk to almost everybody. Or another variation, moving lines or speed dating. In this case, you can organize your students in 2 lines. They can sit or they can stand opposite each other. Like you can assign them, divide them into 2 teams, students B and students A. Students B don't move, and students A move after your signal. And again, they have the opportunity to talk to different people during the activity. Also, we use a lot of board games. Like we can characterize this category of activities as competitive games, Pictionary game, especially during revision lessons, as warm-up, hot seat or back to board, where students have to guess and describe the target language vocabulary, for example. And of course, we often use application charades as variation to hot seat or back to board activity. Then run a dictation. Here, teacher can put some sentences or pieces of a text on the wall, stick to the wall. Students are divided into pairs or small groups. In turns, they run to the wall, memorize a sentence, run back, dictate it to their partner, and then they take turns. They change their roles, and the pair or the group which does it first wins. I've tried this activity, for example, with gerund and infinitive topic with my upper intermediate students. It was really fun. And one more activity. Where shall I go? I've tried it only once, but it was also really great. Students enjoyed it a lot. Here we practice prepositions and given directions with pre-intermediate students. In this case, teacher creates kind of a maze out of the furniture in the classroom, and students are divided either into teams or into pairs one student who is wearing a blindfold and another student is giving directions where the partner should go, and in such a way they have to be attentive to listen to the prepositions, to the instructions, and get to the destination. Then, as I mentioned, all these activities require a lot of peer work and peer learning. Let's first of all, again, answer the question, what it means. Peer learning is a teaching and learning strategy that involves groups of students working together to solve some problem, to complete a task, or create a product. Each member of the team is responsible not only for learning what is taught, but also for helping teammates learn, and thus creating an atmosphere of achievement. So how do students benefit from peer learning? First of all, it gives the teacher more time to relax and observe instead of constantly trying to entertain students. It also allows for a more relaxed atmosphere where students are more willing to take the lead in learning. It develops learners' autonomy, which is really crucial. The smaller discourse between a couple of students as opposed to a larger group allows for great understanding. Then peer-to-peer education has been proven to show greater communication skills and higher self-esteem, as students feel that if they can explain something to their partners, they know more. They become aware of their knowledge. And students become more productive and produce greater results compared with teacher-led instruction. So, how to apply peer learning to everyday classes? Let's have a look at some of the ways. First of all, let students teach each other by having them make quick video or PPT projects. For example, on pre-intermediate level with my students, I gave them the task to create short either video or PowerPoint presentations on one of the topics, and they did it even via either Zoom, or they arranged short meeting before the class and worked together as a team. It was really great. It also enables students to ask and answer others' questions before asking the teacher. Students can join the discussion with text, drawings. For example, when your students have a question, somebody asks a question, open class, you can first elicit the answer from other students, but only then you can answer yourself. Encourage students to respond to their group mates' questions in the Telegram chat. Again, before you do this, you can give the opportunity to your students to answer each other's questions. Facilitate group collaboration to discuss some issues, explain viewpoints, share ideas. We have a lot of brainstorm activities in our program, debates, and so on. Then, last but not least, we have to discuss how to create dynamics in online classes, because we teach online a lot. And let's be honest, Zoom classes and slide presentations, like slides, are not enough. Sometimes students are not participating and thus are not learning, but it's not completely their fault. It's not because they don't care. Sometimes they just feel difficulties to stay focused, to stay connected with each other, with the others, to become active. The good news is that there are a lot of resources out there, a lot of tools and online resources that can help us to make online classes more engaging and more interactive. At the beginning of the course, as well as during the semester, as we know, it's really crucial to create positive atmosphere. You can arrange small talks or launch polls in Zoom like that, where they can discuss some small topics. You can ask your students, send some emoji to the chat and explain why they've chosen it. It can be, for example, the explanation, like demonstration of their mood, or some use, like they can either choose or even create and send a meme to the chat and discuss together. You can bring some object, like you can bring some object and you can motivate your students to do it and describe it. This will also encourage them to switch on their cameras during the lesson, because it is also an issue. As we know, for example, I've picked this picture, like it is hanging here, like in this room. It's the picture which I presented to my boyfriend, because he's a fan of like Marvel. It's Marvel, like, right? I was always confused. And yeah, so they can also bring some object and describe why it's important for them. Then we can watch videos, listen to songs with our students, do some activities based on it. And we can also use realia. For example, this is my dog. And when we had, with my elementary students, we had a lesson about pets. He was smaller at that time. And I showed my students, my dog, told about how he was born. He was like 1 week at that time. They also brought and showed their pets. It was really entertaining and engaging, and like brought a lot of dynamics to the lesson. So, which online resources we can use for creating dynamics? We all know about these two great websites, Learning Apps and WordWall, where you can create almost all types of activities from different stages of the lesson. Also, Bamboozle, here you can arrange speaking activities like as practice, or you can use like team mode for competition. Then I really enjoy Wheel of Names. Here you can also arrange speaking activities with some pictures, with phrases. Students will discuss the topics using the phrases. Then very often I use Storyboard That, where students create short stories using different characters, backgrounds. I've used it with my upper intermediate students when we had narrative tenses. They had to create short stories using narrative tenses, and then they share their stories in our chat, and we discussed and voted for the best one. Then bingo is also possible to play online with the help of my free bingo cards. Here you create such grid. Students ask each other questions, put across, and can make a line and win the game in such a way. Then there are a lot of tools to brainstorm ideas. I've already mentioned Padlet board, where students can create debates or brainstorm ideas for different types of writing. Or we also use mind maps online for brainstorming ideas. Then there are a lot of quizzes and competitive games like Fact File. Basically, it's a variation alternative to Jeopardy game. Here, students can play individually and get their score, or in teams. It depends. Of course, we use Kahoot. We can also use it online. Students just need 2 gadgets for that. Then Quizlet Live and Quizzes, they are similar. And now Quizlet Live gives the opportunity to play individually, not only in teams like we used to do it. And very often I use this website Whisk Online. I like this template most of all for like where students have to choose the correct option. It's kind of a test to get to the Hive. It is also alternative to board game. Almost all these like applications can be, like websites can be embedded to our platform. Students can play from there and have engaging and interactive lessons. So basically, that's it, what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that the information was useful. I hope that you got something new for you. Maybe you just remembered about something which you haven't used for a long time. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to share, to ask them in our chat box. I will be happy to answer them. Yeah, sure. The PPT will be uploaded to our teacher's pack together with the video. Show us your dog, Bats. He's sleeping, I guess. Bats, come here. He's running. The door is closed. No, he's not running.
Does he understand English?
Sorry?
Does he understand English?
He understands Bats. But I think, he has heard so many English lessons which I've conducted here. I think, yeah, he already knows English because he was born when the quarantine started. And yeah, he has heard English from his first days. That's why I guess he already knows English. How to use charades? I need to give the words we need. You mean this application, charades, which I showed, right?
Yes. I mean that I know we can use it with our hands to put the words, like the set of words. But if we work in teams, do we need to do that beforehand, or how it functions?
If you use an application, you put a set of words to this application beforehand, and students use one phone. For example, they are grouped into 3 people. They use one phone and they just pass this phone after each round to each other. Like this. They are holding their phone like before their forehead. And the student who is holding the phone has to guess the words which appear on the screen. And other students in a team, they describe those words.
Yeah, I see now the answer, Valentina. Like the code. Yeah,
okay. You mean right? Technically. I see. Yeah. You send them the code, they insert it, and then they have this game on their phones, and yeah, can play it in such a way. I see. You're welcome. I see. Yeah. So no more questions. Okay. Thank you for coming. Have a nice day. Celebrate Teachers' Day, the upcoming. And yeah, bye. Have nice weekends.